one round with this individual, and then you go on to somebody else. But now what you've got is the next somebody, when they sit down to play you, they can look up what was your strategy in previous rounds. Does this person tend to cheat, or does this person tend to cooperate? And what we've now introduced is the very technical mathematical concept of you come in there with a reputation. And as soon as you design games so that you enter with a reputation, you select for cooperation. Next variable. Very few species sit there and only have one type of interaction with another member of their social group. In other words, only a single type of game theory game going on. Instead, the reality is there's multiple games. Do you hunt cooperatively? Do you defend cooperatively? Things of that sort. The second you introduce the possibility of multiple games, things become more complex. Okay, suppose here in this diagram we have a first example.